Imagine a world on the brink of total annihilation, where a single wrong move could trigger a nuclear war. The Cold War came inches from becoming a hot war more than once. What kept humanity from the edge of disaster? Let's dive into the jaw-dropping moments when global catastrophe almost struck and how it was narrowly avoided. The Cold War wasn't just a battle of ideologies, it was a high-stakes game where two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, were locked in a deadly game of nuclear chicken. Both sides held the power to obliterate each other, but how did it never spiral into an all-out war? One of the closest brushes with disaster came in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union secretly placed nuclear missiles just 90 miles off the coast of Florida in Cuba. For 13 tense days, the world held its breath, with President Kennedy and Premier Khrushchev facing off in a deadly showdown. With both sides preparing for full-scale war, what stopped the world from ending? The key was secret high-stakes diplomacy. Kennedy and Khrushchev kept the peace by communicating directly behind the scenes. In a nail-biting but ultimately peaceful resolution, the Soviets agreed to remove their missiles from Cuba, and the U.S. promised not to invade, along with quietly pulling missiles from Turkey. It was a razor-thin victory for peace. But the close calls didn't stop there. In 1961, when the Berlin Wall went up, dividing East and West, tensions were at an all-time high. American and Soviet forces were on the edge of a deadly confrontation in the streets. But once again, cooler heads prevailed. Despite the explosive situation, both sides backed down and avoided war. Then there was the Korean War. While the U.S. and Soviet Union never directly clashed, both superpowers were deeply involved through their allies, and multiple times the conflict threatened to explode into direct confrontation. Fear of nuclear retaliation kept both sides in check, despite the intense fighting on the ground. What kept these terrifying moments from becoming full-blown wars? Mutually assured destruction, MAD. Both the U.S. and the Soviet Union knew that nuclear war would mean the end of their empires, and possibly humanity itself. This chilling realization was the key factor in avoiding disaster. The Cold War was like walking a razor's edge. One wrong step could have meant total devastation. Time and again, humanity narrowly avoided annihilation through back-channel diplomacy, careful strategy, and yes, even sheer luck. The real story of the Cold War isn't just one of tension and fear. It's a reminder that the greatest victories are sometimes the ones we never have to fight.